Let's face it, we're all just here to see me wince and cringe and crawl into the fetal position as I lose my mind over movies that I will never watch again. But that's the problem, isn't it? It's never just the one time. They are such an infestation on our minds that every once in a while, and we never mean to, we run through them. Sitting there playing Call of Duty, bam! A line from Melissa McCarthy.
Did I do that? You know that. Did I do that?
Enjoying date night with a loved one, in comes the Emoji Movie.
We're number 2.
So let's enjoy my suffering! These are my picks for the bottom 10 worst films of 2022. Number 10. One Up. You know what it is? It's not even that it's that bad. I mean, yes it is. But it's so exhausting. At first there's a little bit of promise, as the opening credits are references to old school video games, and Paris Burrell is interacting with them. It's setting itself up for some goofy gamer fun. That's not really what I got.
And now, gamers are everyone. Even Todd.
A gamer girl is part of an esports team, but is mistreated by her male gamer teammates. She quits, starts up her own esports team with a diverse group of other gamer girls, as well as Ruby Rose as their coach, and climb the ranks at an esports tournament. The problem is, it takes itself way too seriously. Not that this is a drama, it's supposed to be a comedy, but whoever wrote this clearly doesn't know how female gamers are legitimately treated. What was that amazing line from Seberg again?
You run around here with a handful of nails looking for a cross to die on.
All the points it tries to make about sexism in gaming are a little too genuine. With every single argument it wants to make, it would take me hours to count all the holes in their logic, and it's too exhausting to even try. Perhaps that's the point. Overload the audience with undue man guilt that they cave in and succumb to the wokeness.
You gotta have no change whatsoever.
We just want a game.
I suppose if I say no, you're gonna cancel me, right?
And look at this champion diverse cast. You have the raunchy, overweight girl, thank you 2005 Melissa McCarthy for that stereotype, to the sweet, innocent black girl who is secretly a psychopath, but in a funny way. Remember Horton Hears a Who, and this character, that's who she is.
Oh my god.
You can smell the check boxes, can't you? Diversity equals tokenism. What's the difference? This wouldn't be such a bad thing if the characters were interesting. But once you realize they're all one joke, it runs stale. This might also be ignored if Paris Burrell's character was likable, but she's not. She spends so much of her time whining and complaining, trying to assert herself as the dominant female in the group. Refusing to listen to her teammates, to listen to her coach that she went and hired to be their coach in the first place. She is remarkably mean-spirited that I often ask myself why I was supposed to care about her. The bland best friend that I totally forgot to mention would have been a better protagonist. I didn't hate her.
Please consider giving your female characters a pair of pants.
Or regular sized tits.
Even the game. Oh my god. I verified that they are playing a real video game, Knights of the Elder Orb. However, I give you the Space Jam Legacy Complex. What's that? Feeding the audience a game without defining the rules so they can't follow the game and get invested. But as soon as you throw in undefined video game rules that seem to change or come out of nowhere, it becomes inane nonsense and chaos. The game they play here, what is going on? What's the objective? What are the rules? How do you explain this game to a casual viewer what they're looking at? Maybe actual gamers might know what's going on, but that's no consolation to someone who doesn't play it. Seriously, this couldn't be a game of Fall Guys or Among Us. Competitive and easy to understand, y'all. That should be the name of the game. Pun intended.
We came a long way from riding pine for the dick smack betas.
Did you ever get a sneaking suspicion that they whacked off to us?
What? No.
It's trying to make female gamers feel more empowered in a way that they never needed, so I can only imagine that it comes across as more demeaning than what the less than savory male gamers can come up with. And all in the name of uplifting them? That's quite an accomplishment. Do worse movies exist? Absolutely. Do more pandery movies exist? Sure. But not in terms of female gamers. And not even Paris Burrell's glorious bouncing boobage is enough to save this movie. I'll take a game over this one-up any day.
So, gamers could not relate to this, but they could relate to this.
Number 9. I Am Mortal. Let's get this out of the way. The only thing that's enjoyable about this is Sean Gunn, brother to the now head of DC Movies, James Gunn, who is not very popular himself right now. Trust me, as soon as I talk about the premise, you'll know exactly where this plot is going.
How can you really live if you know you're never going to die?
It's a post-apocalyptic dystopia where immortality has been achieved at the cost of serving under the tyrannical ruler that is Sean Gunn, as well as foregoing emotions and independent thought. But one young man questions his existence and joins a growing group of freedom fighters who want more for themselves. Despite being one of my earliest dislikes of the year, I remember so much so vividly. The world building is atrocious because immortality means you have to walk around acting like an obedient zombie, loyal to the corporate head honcho. Thanks, seen it before, this isn't unique. This trope is so senseless. Even when it's done in better movies, I don't always give it a pass. Sure, no one likes all power given to a single person, and that this single person is just a corporate dude is on paper all the worse. But the world at large experiences no crime, and no one is outwardly mistreated, so whatever argument this movie is trying to make to showcase how dystopic this society is ain't doing the best job, and the so-called protagonists of this story simply want the freedom to emotionally explode.
Everyone in this world deserves the chance to see things the way we do. You know that.
Doubling down on everything that drives me crazy is the complementing acting. It's so wooden and emotionless. There's another movie that came out this year called Duel. It also featured characters that talk without emotion, but at least there was an air of self-awareness, and the aim was a dark, dry comedy.
You were right. The plot was convoluted and the acting wasn't very good, but I see why you wanted me to watch it.
I'll send you home with a sequel today.
But here, it's a zombie people for the sake of zombie people. What is so wrong about immortal people emoting like real people? Whatever. But what's insane is that even when you find the freedom fighters, their acting is no more expressive than the drones everywhere else. When nearly all of your main characters don't look or sound like they care, then why should, or more importantly, how could, the audience? Oh, I'm sure the climax is supposed to be the big emotional payoff where everyone feels free as the wind when they find themselves able to have big expressions, but maybe someone should have told the actors to rein it in a bit.
Listen to me, all of you. I am mortal and I am alive.
What definitely doesn't help and puts the tombstone on this already dead flick is the writing. It is so dull and pretentious. I would love to be a lot harsher on the flick, but I do have to keep one thing in mind. Writer-director Tony Alapis is an inexperienced filmmaker with only 2 credits under his belt. Still, he obviously wanted me to take this movie seriously. He has enough clout to afford one of the Gunns, Sean Gunn, who is not exactly a household name compared to his older brother, but is not an unrecognizable face. So with all that in mind, I do have to be a little harsh. I'm unimpressed, and I've seen low-budge movies by inexperienced filmmakers put a lot more effort into the writing.
Now that my eyes have been opened, I realized how much darkness has been hiding underneath.
Number 8. Disenchanted. This is what's forgotten about the original flick. OG Disney, even during the Renaissance, had their fair share of tropes that were made fun of in the original Enchanted. It was a love letter, as well as a satire of those movies. Oh, I didn't mean you forgot. No. You are most likely a regular person with a functioning brain and knew exactly what Enchanted was doing. No, the forgetful ones are in the House of Rat.
Just believe in yourself.
How? I know how. Because God Emperor Disney is a hollow shell of their former selves, pushing diversity agendas, and unnecessary remakes that are a wasteland of creativity, making Fallout 3 look like the Garden of Eden. Now granted, Disenchanted doesn't have an agenda to push, at least not like that, aside from Patrick Dempsey being a complete doofus. But in God Emperor Disney frantically and desperately going in their new direction, they've created a whole new set of tropes that beg to be made fun of. Strong, capable females that don't have to work hard to achieve greatness and are either just great and the world has to deal with it, or are handed greatness by their humbled male counterparts who need to fall in line. Here's the problem. The House of Rat has no self-awareness. So the new age cliches that they infect in their movies aren't tropes to them. They're the new standard. With that in mind, you tell me, was a new Enchanted movie ripe to be made, or a damn neon sign to keep the IP away from modern God Emperor Disney? Well, we have our answer. It's trash.
Surely they can wait.
Are you speaking back to me?
No, of course not. I would never do such a thing.
Perhaps you need to remember your place here.
This isn't a satire. It's a pointless continuation of the original story. Giselle and a teenage Morgan have a fractured relationship. Yeah, remember how she was super stoked to have a real princess for a mom? How much she loved Giselle? Well, now Morgan hates her because we somehow needed the angsty teen embarrassed by the parent dynamic thrown in. Yes, I get it. Everyone's disenchanted with their lives. Morgan is disenchanted with having a princess for a mom. Giselle is disenchanted with the real world and no longer knows how to integrate into it, which, seriously, in 10 some odd years, Giselle never acclimated to her new environment. So it seems that Giselle went from the fish out of water stereotype, which was charmingly brought to life by the immortally wonderful Amy Adams, to the embarrassing parent stereotype, which was not charmingly brought to life by Amy Adams.
I went to New York.
By yourself?
I've been riding the subway alone since I was 13. Let's calm down, please.
Don't tell me to calm down.
From this point on, it becomes a random plot generator to pad out the runtime. What other dumb story can we throw in? How about an evil Giselle? Yeah, she's gonna be given a magic wand that'll grant her a wish, but she'll turn evil for some reason. What else? Oh, what about an evil queen that evil Giselle must compete with for power? Yeah! Actually, legit, that was pretty fun. But that's what hurts all the more. You can see where a good idea could have been if the writers had committed to that, and not called it Enchanted. I mean, let's face it, we've never seen two evil stepmothers or queens go toe-to-toe and have them mug for the camera and out-evil one another. That'd be a lot of fun to see. But not here. Not this story. And at the end of the day, the appeal of Enchanted was that it made fun of God Emperor Disney, not been a random rendition of Cinderella 3 or Shrek 4, wishing for an alternate reality where everything is topsy-turvy. But then again, perhaps it was too much to hope for a true follow-up to the underrated classic, especially considering where the House of Rat is today. They wouldn't make fun of themselves, they'll reinforce it with narcissism and superiority. If you were hoping for something good, look elsewhere. Storybook endings and fairy tales coming true? Not in the empire of God Emperor Disney.
Why don't you just focus on your little party? After all, baked goods are what you do best. Your Majesty.
Number 7. Interceptor. What the hell, Hemsworth? Look, man, we all love women. No one wants to see weak and feeble female characters bring down the movie. Those days are primordial, and we've mostly gotten better about it. But this is going way too far in the other direction, man. This is not the kind of role that women are looking for, in earnest.
Sir, are we sure this is not some kind of drill or emergency test?
Quiet. NSA's relaying chatter from Russia.
The biggest problem is that star Elsa Pataki is supposed to look toned and war-ready, like she could actually take on big guys. The problem is that works against her because of how poorly she's written. She's a military captain with a tragic past. What's her tragic past, you may ask? Well, she's a she, so let's scrape the bottom of the barrel and say sexual assault from a male superior, resulting in harassment from other men who think she ruined the career of a great man when she reported his misconduct. It serves no purpose to the story. If you take those elements out of her backstory, out of the movie, you miss absolutely nothing, and in fact, might make it better.
Wait, that general got discharged, which means you beat him. You won.
She won the battle, not the war.
But what about other characters, like the good guys? Well, she's surrounded by every modern male cliché. The one good guy character that looks like he could manage a situation like this, terrorists taking control of a military outpost with nuclear missiles, is killed off. The other one is a soy boy who can't act unless his female superior gives him courage, which I find strange because he's a military officer like her. Oh, and he dies too, but courageously! Why are these characters axed off? To make the female character look better. Then there's her dad. The main bad guy has him dead to rights, but conveniently, Daddy Dearest lives to the end of the movie for one of the most Deus Ex Machina reasons this movie could muster. Why is he written to live? Because our strong female character can't experience personal loss. We can't have our female character have stakes in this fight beyond the job. She needs a happy ending.
You were absolutely sure you planned for every possible outcome.
But you couldn't plan for me.
And those are just the good guy characters. What about the bad ones? You know, the filthy cis white folk. One is big, burly, and really dumb.
Damn it, you're a big boy.
Another is overtly, let's just say, no means yes in his mind.
I'm gonna do to you what every enlisted grunt secretly wants to do to every female officer.
And the main bad guy is supposed to have morals of his own, but constantly sidelines them to remind the audience that he's still a bad dude. Oh, and there's this cliche, the token Asian martial artist. Are you kidding me? Oh, Chris, you're killing me. You said yes to producing this, you jerk. You should have used your head. Oh, I guess there is this one bad white girl, but she's still cis white.
Think you can make it? Do you?
But you see what happened there? It's a checklist of all the modern male characters that woke media has been pushing. I know, woke is a dying buzz term used as a blanket statement to decry anything progressive and the opposite of what a certain person may disagree with, regardless of where you fall on the politically correct spectrum. So while I'll retire the word use, I'll consider it my last hurrah and say the movie is woke as hell.
Yeah, sure. Blame America. Blame the government. Blame everyone else but you. That's what all losers do.
I really wish that I could say the action was good, but it was tiring. Make no mistake, I don't mind a mindless action fest with a female character who is taking on odds greater than her. But it can't be done with genuine intentions. Even the 80s, which was rife with muscular dudes surviving impossible odds, was never meant to be taken seriously. Why are women expected to take this horse crap like it's the new standard? Complete with bad one-liners, no less.
You're one armor-plated woman. Army never should have picked a fight with you.
Got that right.
This comes across as someone's very first project. And wouldn't you know it, it is. This is director and co-writer Matthew Riley's very first credit, whose background consists of being a novelist. And not one that's professionally published. What a weird choice. And his co-writer, Stuart Beattie, has done such wonderful projects as 4 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I, Frankenstein, actually that was kind of hilariously bad, and pretty much all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Boy did those go down in quality over time. Clearly, he doesn't have the same talent that he used to. Look, I'm not sitting here saying that it's the worst of the worst. It's not. But watching it was a chore and I got nothing out of it. See The Princess instead. That's hilariously bad. This is just bad. Number 6. Shark Side of the Moon. I know. Who goes into a movie with that kind of title and goes, oh yeah, that looks like it's gonna be a good time. You know what? I have a rebuttal to that statement. Movies that are so bad, they're entertaining. That's what I thought this was. Look at the trailer. Watch the trailer. It looks like it's gonna be the campiest of bad CG action movies. But that's not what I got. What I got was the cure to insomnia. Convince me otherwise. It starts promising enough. Bad CG, human shark hybrids, gory violence, hammy acting. The first 10-ish minutes are a hoot. But then the rest of the movie happens, and let me tell you, I was fighting to stay awake. I couldn't tell if this was taking itself too seriously because it spends too much time developing a plot that I promised the filmmakers no one watching this would give the slightest crap about.
I'll do a walkthrough, then a moonwalk to ensure there's no external damage.
See? We're all safe.
It takes way too long to get to where you want it to go, which would be the action and whatever fake violence it dishes out. Some of it is fine to laugh at. But it's not sustainable for the entire duration of the viewing if it's not consistent and if there isn't a variety of things to laugh at. I'm repeating myself for my final rapid fire, but I'm gonna say it again anyway. There's only so many times you can laugh at the pitch black background of the moon where stars should be before getting bored. There's only so many times you can laugh at the lame action consisting of bad physics.
What do you think, Liam? There's nothing living on the moon.
Oh, and you cut out for a second.
To the combat scenes where the actors are simply twirling their spears and poking at nothing while the CG sharks swing at the camera before any of it becomes boring. Literally, there's only 2 points of entertainment. The beginning, which I mentioned, and the moment when everyone was dressed like Cocker Spaniel crusaders with cancer. Oh, and the whale shark that runs on all fours, that had me cracking up. Like, why? Why are the whale sharks not human hybrids? Why is it running like a dog? I have too many questions, and yet I don't think I want a single answer. The point is, I was hyped, and that was my Achilles heel. I expected dumb, stupid fun, and instead, I just got not fun. The antithesis of entertainment. And when that's the best way to describe your movie, take your L, get off Earth, and out of the solar system.
И больше не возвращайтесь!
We've arrived. The real pain begins. I'm gonna need some help. A friend. Not just any friend. My best friend. My bestest of best friends that any man can ask. No, Mark, it's not you. The only one who has seen me at my absolute worst. Who has been there through thick and thin for me, who has never, nope, Zarina, it's not you either, who has never let me down, who has always known what I need when I need it most. Jackie. Hello, Jackie.
But I'm a bitch, right?
It's the bottom 5. Don't judge me. Number 5. Summering. Are you one of those people who can't decide if you actually want kids in the future? Do yourself a favor. Don't watch this. Because you're going to think that kids are the absolute stupidest things on the face of the earth. You would think this is about a group of young girls simply enjoying their last summer as 5th graders going into middle school. Something wholesome and fun as they contemplate what it means to be getting older and possibly growing apart, since I think it's implied they won't be in the same classrooms anymore. But you would be dead wrong. Mostly because they find a dead dude.
He's dead? I don't think I want to see that. Oh my god.
Okay, so now you're thinking, Stand By Me, but with girls. Something a bit heavier than wholesome. Well, if only it was that enjoyable. See, in Stand By Me, finding the dead guy was saved until much later in the flick, as these boys are simply enjoying the journey to find it while avoiding bully Kiefer Sutherland. This movie has these girls find the body from the get-go and make piss-poor choice after piss-poor choice. One of them wants to call the police.
What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm calling the police.
But the other girls say no. Why? Because then the parents will worry that they'll be traumatized. No, seriously, that's one of the justifications.
I mean, you know our moms. They'll think we're, like, traumatized.
So what do they do about this dude? They decide to play detective and figure out who he is all on their own. And why do they do this? Because one of the girls had a father who disappeared, and disappeared people want to be found. So obviously this guy wants to be found. Are you kidding me? Anonymous calls to the police then. Holy God, the police can figure out all of this without you making life harder for everyone involved. What also gets me is the adults they encounter. As these girls walk around asking for the private information on the dead dude, none of the grown-ups find this situation suspicious. They go with it for some reason. So these prepubescent girls are smarter than the grown adults in this movie. Wonderful. Quality cinema here.
Take a picture of him first.
A picture? That's just wrong.
He's not him anymore.
I give the slightest amount of credit that the young actresses are actually pretty good. They each have talent, so I wish nothing but the best for them. I wish nothing but the most creative, the most challenging, and the most fulfilling roles that they can possibly have. And maybe, just maybe, find a new favorite actress in one, some, or all of them. That they keep a good head on their shoulders, that they continue to work in welcoming and supportive environments, and live a prosperous life that's everything they could have asked for and more. Don't let the negative reviews deter you from doing what you love to do. From the bottom of my heart, I genuinely wish that. But this was a terrible starting point for all of them. So to the filmmakers behind this,
you've got to step up.
It's not the kids' fault that this movie sucks. They, and you, deserve better than this dark summer vacation.
So no, I don't think this is stupid. I don't want to stop.
Number 4, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Before Phase 4, I was an MCU nutcase. I wanted every single installment. I consumed like the good little piggy that I was, because I wanted to see what we were building up to. I wanted to see Earth's mightiest warriors do battle against the Mad Titan. The MCU used to be a beacon of pure superhero entertainment. At the end of the day, no one's saying that the MCU was perfect, but it was a great place for people who are fans of superheroes to cheer, to laugh, to cry, and to feel like their years of investment in this franchise over the course of, 10, 11 years, would be paid off well in the endgame, pun intended. And boy howdy, a lot of us did feel that way, myself included. Oh my god, times have changed.
I was able to stop them from mining it. But we need Wakanda's help to prevent it from happening again.
To be fair, I think this installment wrote itself into a corner as a result of tragic circumstances. The passing of Chadwick Boseman will forever be felt in the franchise moving forward, especially when it comes to the Wakandan legacy, because Boseman was Black Panther. Even if you didn't like the Solo movie, and I know there's a few that didn't, much like the Witcher Netflix series and Henry Cavill, the one element that could never be denied for how good he was, how much heart and passion he put into it, was Chadwick. And it is true that in the comics, at some point in Black Panther's history, Shuri did take over the mantle. So to see Shuri in the movie take up her brother's mantle isn't exactly unexpected, considering how the real world plays a big part of things. The problem is, it sucks. It sucks Rhino PP.
What the hell are you doing here? Oh shit, am I getting recruited? No.
First of all, this is a superhero movie. You better have some action in it. And in this 2.5-hour superhero flick, you want to know how many decent action scenes there are? 3. That's it. Already that sounds boring, doesn't it? But let's pretend for 5 minutes that the padding between action scenes is worth it. What do? Undo everything that the original movie was setting up. If you've forgotten, the original was convincing T'Challa that Wakanda's resources should be shared with the world. Wakanda is supposed to be the most technologically advanced civilization on Earth. And as such movies as The Avengers, Thor Dark World, and even Age of Ultron have shown, the world has been faced with technologically superior forces that came pretty close to achieving global domination. Or even benevolent forces, like Tony Stark, is capable of catching up to serious technological achievements that can spell disaster for the rest of us. Perhaps the most advanced civilization could lend a hand in helping protect everyone from future threats. Maybe no weapons of mass destruction type stuff, but clearly Wakanda is capable of contributing in a way that benefits both sides. Well, let's have this movie rip all that apart.
Take me to the princess, or I will drive my spear so deep into your CPU you will not be able to process basic input for a millennia.
As it turns out, the world powers want more vibranium. They've attacked Wakandan outposts for that vibranium. For unknown reasons, of course. Why risk war with a country that is technologically superior to everyone? And Black Panther's dead. Let's raid their outlying stuff and see how we do. Of course, the white powers that be are incompetent in this endeavor.
My mother told stories about a place like this. A protected land with people that never have to leave, that never have to change who they were.
Even once we introduce the real threat of the story, Namor... Oh, sorry, my mistake. Namor.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Somehow, Namor needs Wakanda's help in locating the scientist that's been giving the forces that be a machine that can detect vibranium. Why can't he do this himself? No idea. When they discover it's Riri Williams, a university student, how does she know how to create a machine that can detect vibranium? No clue. She's also revealed to have created her own Iron Man suit. Why and how? Who knows and who knows? The rest of us know why she's there, to be the diverse female replacement of the better superhero, who doesn't have to go through her trial by fire, who doesn't have to prove herself, who doesn't have any character flaws that she has to be faced with and struggle to confront and overcome. Hell, she doesn't even have to be charming, funny, or in any way likable.
The hell is that? Oh shit, she got an Iron Man suit! Pull back! Stay where you are!
From this point on, it's a bunch of talking. Somehow this movie is trying to convince me that Namor is a misunderstood man who wants to protect his people. But all of these conversations are devoid of intellect, and the bland visuals of the world of Talokan make me yearn to watch Aquaman again. Nothing keeps me engaged to the screen, and I can't tell you how many times I wanted to walk out of the theater. And even once we get to what everyone would want to see, an all-out battle between Wakanda and Talokan, it's all too brief and the explanations why are hollow. Characters die until at long last, we get our new Shuri Black Panther. Only 2 hours and 30 minutes into this thing. See the problem? The previous flick practically opened on T'Challa as Black Panther. This one waits until the end of the movie to give us what everyone wants to see. A better writer could have figured this out, but instead, it's a slog.
That is not what I want. For my people.
Even the climactic battle between Namor and the new Panther is lackluster, as the whole crux is to make sure that he's essentially dry. Water gives him strength, and there's nothing in the action to suggest that this is difficult to accomplish. Blast the heater on the ship and tie the guy down, but it drags on for what seems like an eternity. And the fight ends with Shuri getting impaled by Namor's weapon. But she doesn't simply not die, she's totally fine, and somehow comes out on top to carry on the legacy of Black Panther. Sure, she was willing to go to war over revenge and sacrifice the lives of countless Wakandan warriors, but I guess when a diverse woman does these things as opposed to a white man, it's not reckless and messed up, it's empowering. She's not fit to be the ruler of her own litter box, let alone an entire kingdom.
What are you afraid of?
War. If Namor is indeed a god to his people, killing him will risk eternal war.
I wish that I could say that the only good things in this movie are the beginning and end, which are genuinely touching tributes to Chadwick Boseman. I have no doubt that the cast and crew loved him. It really shows. But that's what makes this situation, this entire experience, all the worse, because it doesn't feel like that they're interested in carrying on his legacy, but rather to just take the IP that they've been given and do whatever they want with it, and without restrictions. As a result, what we get here is everything that I would have hated in a Black Panther follow-up. This is my least favorite of the MCU now. I hate it more than Iron Man 3. I think it's more boring than Thor Dark World.
It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what I want.
Number 3. Art of Love. This was really painful to watch on a few levels, so let's get into it. All I have to do is tell you what this movie's about, and you'll get it. It's about a university professor who starts receiving love notes from a student that he doesn't know. Well, it's a student that he knows is in his class, but doesn't know which one. And he actively pursues her. So that's why it sucks, right? It's about a creepy-ass professor who just wants to, smash a student. Oh, dear viewer. The rabbit hole goes a bit deeper. While he's pursuing this student, he is utterly convinced that it's true love. Oh, hold on a second. You thought we were done? No. Welcome to American McGee's Wonderland, because here's the creme de la creme. The student that he finds identifies herself as a lesbian.
I must tell you, I'm a lesbian.
But she teases this man with sex at every corner. They make out. They get down and dirty in a myriad of ways, but denies him the actual act of sex. Why does she identify as lesbian, you may ask? Well, because her cousin molested her when she was a child. All that icky that you're feeling right now? Yeah, welcome to the club.
My fortress has been breached. I've never felt
unforeseeable.
What truly gets me is that the tone is all over the place. One second, you'd swear to God this was a quirky romantic comedy. The next, it's trying to be a serious romantic drama. The next, it's trying to be erotic. No matter which way you slice it, not once is this relationship between the two characters ever framed as problematic. They are exploring the relationship, and you never sit comfortably watching them do so. It perpetuates the false narrative that younger women seduce older men rather than the other way around, especially those in power. Spoiler alert, no, the movie doesn't end with the two getting together, thank God, but that's hardly any reconciliation considering everything else that they've done. There's something random as hell. Video game cutscenes!
We went in blind, not seeing the abyss before us. A lesbian had fallen in love with a man, and he had responded.
And the writing. Oh Lord. Not even 5 minutes in, and it's pretentious.
I write with no dream of success. I'm incomprehensible to my fellow man.
It sounds like an emo teenager is writing this. But this is supposedly from the mind of a grown man. A grown, older man, no less. And this sort of confused, inhuman character writing is constant throughout.
Julia, I can't listen to your pain. Doesn't belong to me.
What truly hurts the most here, which is saying something considering all the icky I've been spouting this whole time, is that this stars Isai Morales. He's not a household name, but he is an underrated actor. So to see his talent wasted on this, to see him act like this?
Hi, I'm Simone. About time I present myself. Please forgive me if I had created a great inconvenience.
I can't possibly describe the feeling. It's like razors, just multiple razors, just clawing, scratching at my heart. That's the pain I feel. Not much more to say about it. It's a train wreck of a script, awful directing. It's the perfect tapestry of god-awful cinema, the art of gross. And to think, we've got 2 more left on this list.
I don't like simpletons. If they were in charge, literature would have disappeared from the face of the earth.
Number 2. Italian Studies. Just so everyone knows, I forgot to hit the record button on this one, so this is technically my second shot for this. You can probably tell by now. Anyway, as for the movie, you know, the last Art of Love was pretty easy to convince you that it was crap simply from the premise alone. But this one is deceptive. It stars Vanessa Kirby. She has amnesia. Yeah, she has amnesia. And she's wandering the streets of New York City. All right. You're probably sitting there going, well, that doesn't sound so bad. But then there's probably a few of you going, Daniel, that we're only on number 2. The last movie you described was pretty messed up, and that was only number 3. This one implied to be worse. Just get to it. Just tell me why this one's worse. Well, since you're demanding it so much, I'll tell you. Vanessa Kirby makes out with a minor. First off, it's never explained why Vanessa Kirby has amnesia. She just has it and is wandering the city alone. But this isn't a story about exploring her life before her amnesia. We're apparently not supposed to wonder how this happened, because the entire runtime is her talking to random teenagers. About what, you may ask? About nothing. About what I'm sure the writers think is deep and philosophical, but is utter tosh. Take the same pretentious writing from Art of Love and make that the center focus of the movie. At least that movie had the good sense to give us boobies to break things up and get the blood flowing. Here, you get nothing but that pretense.
I don't have a party, and then it's just me and this person, and they come to my house, and they see there's no party, and also I'm a liar, and also I'm a weirdo.
There is no reason for Kirby to be a part of this. Her role is devoid of anything demanding that her character could have been played by literally anyone. Half of her character development is simply reacting to what another character asks her, and she goes with it. When she starts asking questions, another character will ask if she's writing a book. She'll say, yes, she's writing a book about a teenage stoner boy. Guess who's asking her the question? The teenage stoner boy. And she keeps building on it too. Going from, I'm writing a book to, I'm writing books, a collection of short stories. It's never ending.
Are you working on anything new right now?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I am. Short stories, a novel.
It's not even the simple dialogue that gives her nothing to work with, but Kirby herself doesn't look like she wants to be there.
I don't know.
Are you Jewish?
I don't know yet.
Have a good night.
And it's filmed in this pseudo-documentary style that really comes across as amateurish and feels extremely disjointed when we don't even focus on Kirby. There are moments when we cut to these kids talking to each other for no rhyme or reason. And randomly, one of them is Maya Hawke, who doesn't even have a fully fledged character in this, even though she's pretty popular now thanks to season 3 of Stranger Things.
No, it's just him in the hospital.
I want to be a person like you.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me feel good.
Okay.
Whatever questions you have regarding the setup, I promise you, there are no answers. It completely disregards any common sense and shoves its own head right up its own ass and loves the smell of its own rectum. If you've never seen this movie, count your blessings. Your brain thanks you.
Bark applies to dogs and trees, so it's like my favorite word. It's not actually, but like, it's cool.
Before we hit my #1 least favorite movie of 2022, here are some dishonorable mentions. Disney's Pinocchio.
I have some very good garbage for you.
Far from the worst of their live-action remakes, but the now iconic turd says all that needs to be said. See the one made by Del Toro. A Medea Homecoming.
What the hell is a grandniece? I'm from Alabama. After daughter, it don't damn matter. When you get to cousin, you good.
Tyler Perry lied to us. He said he was done with the franchise, but here we are. Ain't the worst of his work, but it's more of the same. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Are you kidding me right now? Is this thing real?
When the Harry Potter puppet pals have a more compelling narrative, you know it's time to pack it in and retire. Sharkbait.
I don't know what does a shark even look like.
A great concept ripped to shreds by horrid writing and characters. It may not be the worst shark movie of the year, but it is a bad shark movie. And my #1 least favorite movie of 2022...
We gather in thanks for our sanctuary from the shred.
Who's Luca?
Our brother.
Stop it, Luca.
I'm not. I can't be.
Why not?
Because I don't feel for you the way a brother should.
Can't you see? He's using our memories against us. He's changing you, Bee.
By making me happy.
In a world of madness, we have found order.
We will remember.
Glass House. Almost. One more. Just one more. let's set the stage, since most of you have probably not even heard of this movie. I'm sorry, to call it a movie is an insult to movies. It is a horror show. It is a travesty that masquerades itself as a motion picture, something that is supposed to resemble art or entertainment, when it is neither. This takes place in the aftermath of a pandemic. Gee, I can't imagine what might have inspired this. The pandemic in this world is called the Shred. It's airborne and shreds memory. The characters in this story are a little family. The mother, the head of the household, you could say, and then there's the 3 daughters and the 1 son. The eldest daughter, B, the middle child, Evie, the youngest daughter, Daisy, and the only son, Gabe. Gabe, whose mental health is rapidly deteriorating thanks to the Shred. They've survived by wearing protective facial wear. It's so subtle. And, of course, quarantining inside. And murdering strangers. The loss of their oldest brother, Luca, still weighs on their minds. Not because he died, but because he ventured out into the world and never returned. But cling to the hope that he will. Then one day, a strange man appears. This one they all keep alive. And why is that? Because B believes that this man might know where Luca is. Over time, even believing that he is Luca. Why? I don't know. No one else is convinced, but the longer he stays, the more he decides to roll with it, and what happens when he's alone with B? They pork.
Did you like watching?
Let's be clear here, there are explanations. So let's spoil those real quick. It turns out that the stranger is somehow immune to the pandemic and never forgot his past.
I don't know what makes me different. I live each day with what I've lost.
By the end, we learn that none of these people are blood related, and are actually, the most simplistic way to put it is, they were all strangers before and assumed the identities of B and Evie. There were other Bs, other Evies, and now the stranger assumed the name of Luca, whom there was another before. This raises so many questions and contradictions within the story that it would take me way too long to fully comprehend every single one. First of all of these revelations are only, well, revealed in the final seconds of this 90-minute romp. So until then, you're left being strung along, thinking exactly what you're thinking, which is unbearably icky, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if most people that tried to watch this turned it off the moment these plot details started rearing their ugly faces.
Why? It's because he chose her instead of you.
Luca knew I didn't feel that way for him.
Who would want to wait until the end for answers? Even once you get them, the movie almost demands that you think about it and piece everything together yourself, as if this was some kind of mind-bending, oh, that was so compelling, I want to see it again and really dive into it. No! No, screw you! Never mind that I would never want to waste a second trying to decipher what exactly this movie wanted to get across. The slow burn alone turns me off, despite the 90-minute runtime. No, seriously, the 90 minutes feels closer to 5 hours.
Dig up the last trespasser and make a special warning.
We get to play with the fresh one.
Dear Lord, it's a deeply unpleasant film as a whole. Even if I figured everything out, what do I get out of it? What was creatively or intellectually valuable from this? Whatever this movie thinks it's supposed to be, I promise, it's of no value to me. The sad reality is, there is good writing here. Some of the dialogue the mother has is kind of good.
I want a story. An adventure one. Not a boring one like Mother's.
You're lucky I'm too comfortable to smack you.
Even the acting is pretty solid all around. But for how disturbing and perverse the brunt of the plot is, none of that matters. The acting isn't so good that you'd want to experience it in conjunction with the vexatious story that they're all carrying you through. It's not worth it. What makes this all the worse is that I can see where a more palatable story could have been weaved. Post-apocalypse stories are always a great canvas to see where creativity can flourish. A world where people forget, memories can't be trusted, and neither can the people among themselves. There's a genuinely solid foundation to build from that. But that's hypothetical. The execution here doesn't make me enthralled. It's only sent me to the ground, curled up into the fetal position, and me crying out like a dying whale, begging for the shred myself so I can lose the memory of this thing. But no, instead, I'll just live with it. Because I'm a chump! A fat, useless, brown chump!
You let me remember. You choose to forget. But I can't. Why?
My brain goes to dark places when I'm upset. As you can tell, I think I've earned this. But that's what a bad movie can do to you, man. It takes you down an endless abyss of dramatic regret, and all you want is some kind of liberation. But I am not awarded that for watching this. This is the absolute worst of the worst for me. My soul is in pain. My mind has been broken. And I will die remembering this movie, because unlike the characters who can blissfully forget everything, I will live on with this memory.
I can't hold on to everything. Balance requires sacrifice.
But there is hope. It's time to cleanse the bad juju from me and talk about my top 10 favorite films of 2022, and dear Lord, do I need that. Stay tuned, y'all. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching me lose my mind, and have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Genuinely hope you never saw these movies, and hope to see you soon.